Hello everyone and welcome to my final presentation. When I was coming to the US, basically the goals and objectives that I had for my studies were to gain an updated knowledge in marketing, especially marketing principles applied to politics and sports marketing, and also how to advertise in this new age. But when I came, what really changed is that I encountered new ways of using digital media, especially for marketing, and new ways of doing public relations. And so those two aspects really change what I was expecting from this program, and I wasn't deceived at all. So during this presentation, I will focus on three concepts that really marked me: the systems theory, the concept of branding, and the cultural dimensions of Hofstede. So the systems theory suggests that neither a whole nor its constitutive elements can be studied separated one from another. The implication in the marketing and PR world is that uh, there are open systems versus closed systems. Open systems are where um, practitioners try to identify stakeholders and all the individuals or the elements that could actually impact the bottom line of a company versus the closed system that is, like the name suggests, completely closed to its external environment. A good example of an open system approach to marketing or to PR was the Malaysian Airlines, how Malaysian Airlines dealt with the Flight 370 incident in the early days, as in how it first announced officially the loss of contact with the plane, even before announcing a mobilization of an international search and rescue mission. On its official website, it even installed a virtual newsroom with information related to family support and media relations. On the opposite side, the good example of a closed system, although I couldn't find any information online to back this up, was how Togo Telecom dealt with the sack of its CEO for corruption. As a closed system, there was no official news press conference, sorry, or no official news release, which really makes me say that there's still the PR world in Togo, in particular, and in Africa in general, is still at a pre-stage. There is really room for growth, especially for people with a background with a diploma or a knowledge in PR, like me. So I really have the chance to go and be one of the pioneers in this practice. I was reading a Ethiopian blogger, and he said something that I share when he says that when people lack their basic needs such as water and shelter, they really cannot be interested in the outcome of an organization's reputation or so on. So I think it's up to us to really go and change that environment. Um, Another aspect of the system theory, I mean, going past the system theory, there's actually the situation theory, which is, I think, a more dynamic approach to the system theory. It means that it suggests that companies should actually identify the parts of their publics that are more likely to be active on key issues, to identify those key issues and to plan accordingly how to accurately address those key issues. It is something that, for example, Microsoft failed to do related to the release of their new gaming console, the Xbox One, because first it neglected hardcore gamers. Second, they were very inconsistent in their communication, and finally, they failed to monitor and control the conversation around the product, especially online, where very angry customers, very angry gamers that felt really left out of the whole process went and expressed their rant and finally shaped the negative image that the gaming console still has today. and which allowed the competition, that is the PlayStation 4, to be the most sold um, console, right? The second concept that I would like to talk about real quickly is the concept of branding. Branding, according to the American Marketing Association, is the process of enduing a product with the power of a brand. And a brand really is really elements such as the logo, the name, anything that really makes the brand distinctive, one brand distinctive from another, and also associated with an industry or a category of products. So the main idea behind branding is to be capable of having a clear positioning statement. That is to identify that brand as unique from other brands. That process could be reinforced by having strong and positive associations with the brand. I don't know if you guys remember the big games, the Kia K900 commercial during the Super Bowl with the Matrix character Morpheus talking about how Kia is the perfect element of, the perfect illustration of a luxury brand. That really stuck in my head. I don't know why. So whenever now I think about a strong association between, a brand with something, I always think back to that commercial. And so the end goal for any branding process is to come up and be capable of delivering stronger brand loyalty, which ultimately will lead to brand equity. Brand equity being this asset that a brand has to leverage on its loyalty in order to be capable of commanding a premium price or having greater sale or not having to spend so much on publicity or advertising in order to compete with other brands. A good example for that is, according to me, is Apple. Apple is the perfect example of a strong global brand nowadays. It has top Interbrands ranking of brands for 2013. Its value is $98.3 billion, which is pretty high. I think it's right now way above even Coca-Cola. And a recent report said that more than 59% of iPhone owners swear blind loyalty to the brand, and over 78% of those customers said that they would never consider buying another phone than an iPhone. I think that probably helps Apple being such a strong brand that they are, and helps them be more confident when it comes to brand extension or even going on other markets such as China. And finally, the last concept that I want to talk about is the Hofstede's cultural dimensions. Basically, the cultural dimensions, there used to be five, now there's six. There's the power distance index, the level of individualism versus collectivism, the masculinity versus femininity in the culture, their level of uncertainty avoidance, of pragmatism, and now indulgence versus restraint. The scope of this framework, I think it's very important, it was very important to me. This framework is useful when it comes to cross-cultural analysis, when it comes to new market penetration, or even when it comes to after new market penetration, being capable of adapting the strategy behind the product and the communication. Because me, for example, I often go I have to deal between at least the American, the French, and the Togolese cultures for the very least. I really see that most often brands, like for example, again, Coca-Cola, which is present in Togo, even Guinness, and so on, really do this effort of being locally relevant to customers. For example, in Togo, Guinness has his very own, their very own advertising that is related to the reality in Togo, and that is something that some other brands don't do. And I think that me personally, this framework really resonated with me because I think it gave me I don't know, it gave me like a motto, something to work upon. Like I often say, back in 2007, me and my cousin created our own company, which failed miserably, I could say that, because we tried to import what is being done in the US when it comes to e-commerce. Wow. And it failed because we really didn't consider the fact that maybe Togolese weren't ready to buy online and that they'll use only the online website or platform just to compare price and use that price comparison to go on the physical market to go buy the products. In our case, it was. And this concludes my presentation. But just on a last note, I would like to say that on a personal level, branding and the cultural dimensions really resonated with me because, first of all, I think as a person, I really need to act as a brand, as in to have an identity, especially online and offline through my networks, a consistent identity. And because I don't know yet if I'm going to stay in the US or go back to Togo, or even if I go back to Togo, since one of my ambitions is to work for an international or a sub-regional organization, I will have to work across many cultures. And so therefore, I think having this framework to be capable of comparing different cultures is really going to be useful for me. Second thing is when coming back to branding, like I said, when I came here first, my ambition was to learn about political marketing. And that because I really think that there's a need to address to better address the needs of the populations in Togo and in West Africa in general. Right now, the decision power is very centralized because everything is done from up down to above. I have learned through many of my classes that there are different ways of addressing that problem, especially by using community leaders and by using opinion leaders even online, all those stakeholders that are out there, all those influencers that are out there that can be used. Even furthermore, on a strictly business level, we don't really have strong brands in Togo. And the brands that we have, I mean, you have a product that pops up, lasts for maybe 6 months, and then disappears, and then another one is the exact product comes up with a different brand with a different name. So I really think there is also an opportunity to strengthen those brands, to use what I've learned here to strengthen those brands, or even and why not to create my own brand and my own company that I could apply these principles and practices to. So yeah, I think the future is bright and that there is much more that I can do and that need to be done. Thank you.